Hello everybody, recently Nintendo did announce the console that we've known forever as the NX. We got a release date, some of the developers under NDA actually got technical information about the particular console, and developers had already kind of let it slip that they were developing stuff for the NX long before this had even been announced. They announced the release date, they confirmed that it existed before they confirmed it existed, so we just kept calling it the NX. But you know what? They labeled it the Nintendo Switch. The reason it's named the Switch is because, unlike the Wii U, you can seamlessly switch between a TV-based console to a handheld-styled controller screen without the horrible conceit that the Wii U had, where you had to use both at the same time. The dual screen concept was an utter failure. Having to look up and down at the two different screens was stupid. And I'm finally glad they accepted that and gave it up. But you can see where the name came from. You're switching from a handheld to the docking station and back and forth. Now in the real world, we know a switch is actually a lash or a whip that parents used to use to punish their naughty children a few generations back when kids weren't little twats who got up and ran around restaurants and needed to be distracted by mobile phones or handheld games like this NX. The reason why kids were more reasonable back in the day is because they mentally associated misbehaving with the pain of having a switch hit them, enforcing good behavior at the cost of emotional scars. I'm not going to tell you whether or not that was good, I'm just going to tell you that that's what a switch was. Switches are also used the world over to pleasure people's significant others, quote-unquote punishing them for being naughty. Or also used to punish prisoners of war. The first sounds fairly fun, provided it were done extremely sparingly, like to celebrate an occasion or something. And the second sounds like it violates several conventions and is illegal as hell, but it still occurs nonetheless. Of course, switch can also mean someone who likes to switch partners a lot, in the bedroom. But I think the term has a little more meaning in the niche circles of S&M. Where a switch is a person who enjoys being the spanker for one session and then the spankee for another session, switching between the role of the dominant and the submissive. I think I'd prefer to spank as opposed to be spanked, and indeed, in the bedroom that's fairly well the case. Unfortunately, when I play online games competitively, I'm better than noobs, but worse than pros, so MMR, or matchmaking ranking, puts me in an awkward bracket where I do metaphorically get spanked. Do not enjoy. But that's okay because Nintendo, as we've seen, has been getting spanked by me recently. If you check the link in the video description regarding their horrible treatment of fans and fan works in general. Throw on top of that, I have to use non-Nintendo footage in this video because otherwise they'd copyright claim and possibly even copyright strike my video because they are Nintendo. And I was about to say Nintendo is the worst, but Konami holds that little position right now, followed closely by EA and Ubisoft. However, based on their track record, I'm led to believe that Nintendo has some really creative people who are damn cool, and that the rest of the company are assholes. So I've been led to believe. Real, genuine, uncaring assholes. Business, am I right? Well, I won't let people forget it. Contrary to what most people think, their behavior is not required to protect their intellectual property. Otherwise, Capcom, Sega, and Bethesda would all have lost their IPs years ago. That's because trademark and intellectual property, aka copyright, exist in entirely different dimensions. And Western publishers understand that supporting your online base is free advertising. Attacking your online base ends up making videos like this one where I insult you and call you dishonorable, Nintendo. A lot of it comes down to a cultural separation. The more I come to understand Japanese culture on a deeper level, the less I'm enamored with it. Hell, the less I like it in general. You see, I'm still a huge fan of like 80% of what they export from that particular island. The game on screen right now is a game from Japan called God Eater for the PC. It got made into its own anime, which I also liked. Now, unlike the anime, the game story is actually complete, but we'll talk about that another time because I really do want to talk about God Eater at some point. But I digress. The Nintendo Switch appears to be using the mobile phone concept with snap-on controllers, as we've seen in the video, capable of playing Skyrim 2016 edition. The "we've attached a shitty E&B to it, please pay another $60 edition. But what's really compelling is that you could play that version of Skyrim on the go. And while I personally think that would make for a big power hog, it'd probably need to be plugged in frequently, I'm certain that the Nintendo fanboys will assure me it will work for hours on end and be the best thing ever. Because fanboys know right. But since we are here at Skyrim, this brings us to an uncomfortable topic known as console modding. Nintendo's weird. Even more weird than Sony. They've always had a strict control over what they allowed on their media, going as far as to attempt to sue people for daring to sell homebrew cartridges, and all of the hardware and software were original and unique. They were just compatible. How dare you make an unauthorized game that can run on our console? How dare you? So the question is, are they going to go full console modding like the X-Bone did for Fallout 4? Are they going to go the gimped, no external assets modding, like the PlayStation 4 is slated to? Or are they going to outright deny modding entirely? If this answer has already come up at the time that this video has been released, and you see this video, or if you see this video after the information has become made available, feel free to list it in the comments section, because along with both likes and dislikes, those comments boost the video's engagement score, making more people see it. Those make my analytics happy, and make me a couple more pennies of YouTube cash. Ever wondered why that Justin Bieber song has billions of dislikes and is eminently searchable? That's because the engagement's strong. That engagement score, baby. Bring me all those likes and dislikes. Now, I did a video on mod piracy. Some ignorant dumb donkeys argue you can't actually pirate a mod, that the whole concept can't actually occur because they don't understand how intellectual property law works. But the long and longer of it is that people own the mods they make, even if Bethesda has what's called an unlimited use license. If you upload a mod to BethesdaNet that doesn't belong to you, especially one that comes from the Nexus, because the Nexus has its own permission page for each mod that has a makeshift license agreement forbidding you from doing that, you're violating the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your... No, sorry about that. Negative Nancy's say this doesn't matter, because if it's illegal, no cop is going to arrest you for stealing it. And indeed, no cop is. Unless, of course, you ignore the summons to court because the mod maker decided to take you to civil court and is asking for pretty much all your future paychecks worth of money. If you own an ebook and you put it up for free on your website, like a lot of authors do as a freebie, an intro to your series, on a site that's selling books 3, 4, and 5, nobody is allowed to re-upload your free book to another site just because it's free. And the author can, and most likely will, issue a DMCA takedown notice and possibly even sue you. You'll never have a cop come to your house, you'll get a legal notice in the mail, informing you, or in the case of people like myself, my agent for service of process, of the lawsuit. But once again, like all rambling videos, this train has derailed horribly. Console mods, NX, is it a thing, or is it not? And how will it run games like Skyrim? 30 FPS locked with frame skips in heavy areas? We don't know. Nintendo typically uses lower powered hardware in order to save on money and make sure it's affordable for people. I imagine that the NX would probably be quite costly in order to compress the full power of a modern console into something that looks about the size of a gaming tablet. But you know what? For cheapy little games like Mario Party, Mario Kart, Mario Golf, Wii Fit, Super Smash Bros., those style games, I think it'll work wonderfully. What we've got is more or less a tablet with a controller that can plug into your TV, and that's good. Why is it good? maybe not so much for Xbox, PlayStation, or PC fans, but the thing most people don't get is that Japanese products are aimed at Japanese audiences. If something's a success in Japan, it's a success period, even if it fails across the rest of the world. If it's not a success in Japan, it's very unlikely it'll get continued by a Japanese studio or development team, even if it's successful in other countries. In the previous console generation, the most major sellers have been, in Japan, the DS and 3DS. That's right, handhelds have dominated the market more than PS4s and Xbones. That goes a long way to explaining why Nintendo wants to perfect the handheld experience instead of following the PS4 and Xbone's footsteps, because in the eyes of Japan, those consoles were pretty bad. The idea of a gaming tablet on the go that can plug into your TV favors micro experiences. Experiences that can be interrupted and resumed at your leisure. It's something that lends itself very well to the common Japanese lifestyle. A lifestyle where having more devices is bad because space is limited. You have small bursts of time between school / your after-school job, or between school and your cram school, or between the two jobs you need to pay for your city apartment. The economy's shit right now. Now, I know out there some of you are asking, why on God's green earth would I ever want the NX or the Switch when I could play on a gaming laptop with 60 FPS and super high quality textures and this and that? And the answer is simple. It wasn't made for you. If you are a hardcore gamer, someone who, wants the top and the best of the best, then you're a niche gamer. Congratulations. The casuals, as we call them, greatly outnumber you. Nintendo has been aiming for them and not you for some time. Every once in a while they'll throw you a bone, a single, solitary little scrap. But ultimately, the casuals are who Nintendo markets for now. Kind of makes you sad when you think back to the original Nintendo, where we had games that were so difficult that they replaced them with easier versions. I'm looking at you, Super Mario Bros. 2, or should I say Doki Doki Panic. Nintendo Switch, I'll just keep calling it the NX, because, they gave me the name too late. Nintendo NX, don't reveal your name long after people know it for another name, because they're going to use the other name. I guess it's another thing to spank Nintendo on, isn't it? In addition to their abhorrent behavior toward their fans. Do you have anything you want to spank Nintendo over? If so, leave it in the comments section. Check the social media links for more content, and I will see y'all next time.